Hello. This is an edited down and sped up version of a live coding session I streamed earlier today. I'm going to do my best to narrate it for you all. Hopefully this is a little more digestible than an hour-long video. It should just be about 12 minutes. So Zajal is a creative coding tool that I've been working on and off for a few years now. And the most recent incarnation is this functional closure script based thing. And what you have on the left is the sort of sketch file that I'm editing in Sublime Text. You'll see that there's a start, step, and draw definitions. The idea is that you have some kind of initial state. In this case, we're calling it start. It's just an empty hash map. You have some kind of logic that takes the state from every frame and some input. That's the step function. And then produces some kind of data that the draw function could then consume. That's just the sort of broad strokes of the semantics of the system. And here, in this session, I didn't do a whole lot with the step function. It's mostly happening in draw. And what draw is doing is it's producing a sort of, it's not drawing in the sense that a processing would draw, where you're actually putting pixels onto the screen. What it's doing is it's actually constructing an SVG document every frame. So you can see on the left, you got SVG with width and height attributes and style attributes. And what's giving us the line in that circle is that line and circle, those line and circle elements. And they're using values that are taken in from the input of the system. So the syntax here is it's all based on reagent. And reagent hands this off to React, and React turns this into actual SVG documents. There's no graphics library at all. This is like totally naked. It's just a live coding loop basically, and here I just wrote the lerp function because I want to be able to linearly interpolate between values. So I'm going to try and lerp. It looks like between yeah, right. I'm trying to add like circles onto this line. So I'm going to lerp in the new circle. I'm going to place it at the midpoint between the cursor and the center of the screen. This is an approach that I quite like, where I'll build out some code directly in the draw function, in this case using hard-coded values, and then once I have it in a state that I like, fold it back into a function that I can reuse. I don't usually go in and do a whole lot of planning about what kind of functions I'll need. I like to just sort of slop things together and then reintroduce coherence as I need it. That's what's nice about live coding, is you can just kind of make it up as you go along. So now I have a line with these 3 circles. I think I'm going to try and render a bunch of circles now. Right. So I'm using range to create a bunch of numbers between 0 and 20, and then I'm dividing all those numbers by 20, so I'm getting a bunch of numbers between 0 and 1. I'm getting 20 numbers, and I'm using that for the lerp and the radius of every circle. And here I'm going to take that shape and just put it into a function that I just called lumpy line. Again, sort of build it literally directly in the raw function, fold it back into a function later on. It's a nice rhythm. So we have it so that lumpy line now expects 2 hash maps that have X and Y keys for their starting and ending points, and a number to indicate how many circles to draw on that line. And I'm drawing 2, where the second one is going to be a mirror of the first one. And here I noticed that red line is not actually in the lumpy line function, so I just moved it back up there. With this little mirroring effect. But the thing that I run into here is the fact that the actual origin of this coordinate system, the 0, 0 point of the canvas, is still the top left-hand corner of the window. Even though I moved the lumpy line to be drawn from the center of the window as we see it, the origin is still at the top left. And, a lot of graphic systems do this, which is, I guess it's a traditional way to do it. I find it kind of annoying because there's all kinds of nice symmetries that you can't take advantage of. So what I did here is I just translated the whole coordinate system to actually be centered at the center of the window, and now we have a nice reflective symmetry going on. I edited out a big chunk of me Googling SVG transformation syntax because I was fucking that up. So we're expanding the circle function to take a style as well as its coordinates because I want to start coloring the circles. And we have some blue. And SVG gives us this like RGB syntax. I think I'm going to try and lerp through it now. So this is what I mean by the absence of a graphics library. I just cooked up an RGB function, and now I can use that in place of just manually constructing the string. And the reason that's the case, that all these convenience functions aren't there yet, is it's not really something I want to rush in to do. It's something I want to give a little bit of thought and time. I don't want to assume what I want to be doing or what people want to be doing, so I'm trying to leave it open. Trying to see what patterns emerge, what actually needs to be done, as opposed to trying to guess ahead of time. So, getting some errors. Pretty close to lerping. There we go. So we have a starting R value and an ending R value, and just we linearly interpolate that between the start and end circles. A little springy action going on. Here I'm experimenting with just lerping some other values of the color. So now just the green, leaving the blue to be constant. And I computed the X and the Y and the radius outside. Jumped past a little bug there, and we have a lerp going on just the red now, and this should do it on the green as well. There we go. Right. So the red is just a straight lerp from 0 to 200, and the green and blue depend on the coordinates of the circles. So they're lerps between the X and Y values. This is just sort of slopping things together, seeing how they work. Here comes the Twig library. I just checked to see if the JS math was the right syntax, and that is. So here I got something that I didn't expect. I didn't really expect that kind of shape to happen. We just threw an assign into the positioning logic for the circles, and it got this fun little snaky, ziggy-zaggy shape. Little mustache. So at this point I decide that this is like cool, but I want to get I wanted to get it to pulse. So I'm going to figure out how to extract time from our input. because in addition to the mouse, the actual passage of time is technically an input in this system. So we're going to pull the elapsed time, which is the number of milliseconds that the sketch has been running for. And we're going to try and use that to get our little pulsing effect. There we go. Now they're all pulsing at the same time, so I'm trying to offset them. There we go, that's an offset. I'm going to try and slow everything down, and that's the effect I was looking for. It runs much better when sped up. Zajal this incarnation of Zajal is not super fast. So that's basically what I did, and that's sort of an overview of the state of the system right now. The live coding is in place. The functional representation of graphics is in place. The next steps are to get this into a usable state, so I can have people poking at it and starting to get me feedback on the ideas behind it. And I have a faster renderer that I put together that'll target Three.js that should be better than React and SVG, so that'll also come in sometime soon. But I hope this was helpful. Watch the full video if you want some more detail and to watch me stumble through some bugs. And keep an eye on the project. I'm really excited about it.